So I wanted to do this video before 2024 started, but unfortunately timing just didn't work out. But hey, let's do this at the start of 2024 on the channel. Let's give a New Year's resolution to every NBA team, or just a wish or something like that for this year, whatever you want to call it. So what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? We're going to run through all 30 teams. I'm going to be giving them something that they probably want to happen, or you as a fan want to see happen from the team. If you guys do enjoy these videos, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. All right, so we'll start off with the Chicago Bulls. I think this one is pretty easy. It's pretty much just move on from Zach LaVine. I think the time between LaVine and the Bulls should be coming to an end. While he still has somewhat value that you can trade him without attaching another asset to get off that contract, you go out and do so. The Bulls have been a little bit better as of late, basically since LaVine did go down with his injury. You've seen better play from Kobe White. You've seen better play from Patrick Williams. And honestly, shouldn't just stop there at Zach LaVine. It should go on to DeMar DeRozan, Andre Drummond, Nikola Vucevic if you can, Alex Caruso. They should clean house, and we could see a youth movement in Chicago going forward. For the Milwaukee Bucks, I think it's pretty easy. It's to win a championship this year with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. They probably could ask for some more defense as well, or maybe just one of their wishes is to avoid Indiana in the playoffs. All right, speaking of the Indiana Pacers, I think just what they need to do is trade for some defense. They are one of the best offensive teams in the league this season, but their defense has not been up to par. They have been a little bit better as of late, and Miles Turner is still a serviceable anchor for this team, but I'd like to see them go out and add a good defender at the deadline. Maybe it's an in-division trade with Chicago, and you can go and add Alex Caruso. Maybe it's just picking up like somebody like Jonathan Isaac from the Orlando Magic that shouldn't cost too much. Maybe it's Matisse Thybulle, even though his defense isn't what it maybe was in Philly. He could still be serviceable for you on that side of the floor if you prefer a wing. But please, let's get some more defense in Indiana so they can maybe make a run in the playoffs this year. For the Detroit Pistons, what could this be? More wins, the #1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham some help. I'll just say more Wingstop. I think Pistons fans, Pistons players, Pistons people in that just franchise want to see more wins from this team. They went on a historic losing streak, then finally beating the Toronto Raptors, who were down a couple players because they made a trade earlier in that day. So I think just something fans want to see is just the ability to get more Wingstop in 2024. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, it's definitely just health. I think they like where they are right now at 18 and 15 without Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. So they just want to see this team fully healthy going forward with that really great backcourt and front court with Mitchell, Garland, Allen, and Mobley. For Sacramento, I think it's to make a major move at the deadline to go all in this season. De'Aaron Fox is having the best year of his career. Sabonis is as good of a #2 that you can ask for. What if they went out and they made a major move at the deadline? What if they got a Pascal Siakam? What if they got a Zach LaVine? I think OG Anunoby would have been a sick fit for this team as well before New York picked him up. Maybe they see if Brooklyn would trade Mikal Bridges. I think just something the Kings fans would love to see is them going all in this year, and let's see them win a playoff series and potentially more than just one. For the Phoenix Suns, it's pretty much just to see a healthy big three. We want to see Bradley Beal, we want to see Devin Booker, and we want to see Kevin Durant all on the floor for the rest of the season. We're finally getting them to play together now, and it's nice to see Bradley Beal back to hopefully full strength. The LA Lakers, it could be a couple things. It could just be some lineups from Darvin Ham that make sense, and he doesn't start 5 different power forwards every night. Or it could be them going out and making a major move at the deadline. It's probably moving on from D'Angelo Russell or Rui Hashimura. Maybe they're in the market for a Zach LaVine or potentially a DeJounte Murray if he's made available by Atlanta. For the Golden State Warriors, it would be for Draymond Green not to punch people. This isn't the UFC, Draymond. Stop fighting, guys. Steph needs some help. So Wiggins, you want to go back to what you were in 2021? And Clay, let's be more consistent if this is going to be your final year in Golden State. Going over to Charlotte, the Buzz City. It's just for LaMelo Ball to stay healthy, man. I hope after he comes back from this injury, we don't see him hurt again for the rest of the year. He's been hurt a decent amount of times in the first couple of years of his career. This Hornets team actually has a fun young core with Mark Williams and Brandon Miller next to LaMelo, so I want to see them all on the floor at the same time. Please. I think the Hawks just need to get Trae Young some help. This dude is having video game-like numbers on a weekly basis. He's one of the best facilitators in the league. He's one of the best scorers as a point guard in the league, but it's just not clicking with this Hawks team. So we could see some major moves from them at the deadline. Could they move a Clint Capella? Could they move a DeAndre Hunter? A DeJounte Murray, like I just mentioned? A Bogdan Bogdanovic? A Saddiq Bey? I feel like we're going to see a major move from the Hawks to get Trae some help and improve this roster, because this team is way too good to be under 500. For the Wizards, it may be to trade Kyle Kuzma at the deadline if you could sell high on his value. But I think it's for just Bilal Coulibaly to keep improving because he has been so great as a rookie this year. He's definitely exceeded expectations so far. So let's just keep it going from Bilal. For the Miami Heat, it's to finally get over that hump and win a championship. You were so close in the bubble in 2020. You were so close last year, losing in the finals to the Denver Nuggets. You've also made another conference finals before that in 2022. And maybe it's going to have to come at like the expense of trading a Kyle Lowry at the deadline to make a major move. I don't think you need to move Tower Hero or Jaime Jaquez, but I think you got to do something because Jimmy Butler does not have many prime years left. Let's go to the Lone Star State, and for the Dallas Mavericks, it'd be for Luka Doncic to win his first MVP award. Luka's been in the league since the 2018-19 season. Over the last 3 years, you could have been like, all right, this could be Luka's year. He's going to finally win MVP. And I think this year could be the year he could do so. Who knows if Joel Embiid's going to be able to play the 65-game limit. So it may be like Luka versus Jokic versus Shea for the rest of the year. For the Houston Rockets, staying in the state of Texas, it would be for Jalen Green to improve. We've seen constant progression from Jabari Smith Jr., from Alperen Şengün this year, but let's see some more playmaking ability and efficiency from Jalen Green going forward. Memphis, it's got to be just everybody staying on the floor, either both health-wise or just off-the-court suspension-wise. The season could be a wash. Obviously, they had such an abysmal start to the year. John Morant did come back at the 26-game mark, so it may be tough for them to be a top 6 playoff team. They could definitely still make the play-in tournament. It's not impossible. So I hope they don't make a panic move at the deadline and trade somebody like a Marcus Smart or anybody else that could be in their future plans, but I think I would just like to see Memphis be healthy for the rest of the year. And let's see this big three together still with Triple J, Ja, and Bane. We'll go back to the state of Texas. Let's get Wemby some playmakers, right? Like Trey Jones, good playmaker. Let's get another one there. Let's just continue to feed Wemby the ball. He's having a great rookie season so far as a 19-year-old. He's much better at the center position, in my opinion. So, Pop, let's also see him back there at the 5. And yeah, I'd like to see another point guard run the show for San Antonio in 2024 with Trey Jones still there as well. Just no more point guard show hand, please. Everybody involved with the Pelicans this year just has to be thrilled by the health of Zion Williamson, so I'm sure you guys just want to see that continue throughout the remaining part of this year because the Pelicans could win a playoff series with a fully healthy squad now that they got CJ McCollum back. They still got Brandon Ingram and Zion running the show there. They have great role players and good young talent. I just want to see the Pelicans fully healthy in April and May. All right, so the Knicks went out. They got OG Anunoby. They got one of the better perimeter defenders in the league. I'm sure they're going to have to extend him, but I think everybody involved with the Knicks wants that number 1 option. They want to see a championship caliber team in New York. Maybe Brunson could be the number 1 on a championship team. Maybe Becky Hammond is wrong, but the odds aren't in that favor. So it looks like the Knicks may need to add that guy down the line. I have no idea. Are they ever going to get Donovan Mitchell? Obviously, Joel Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo were pipe dreams, and you have no idea who the next available star is going to be. But I feel like this Knicks team will not be taken seriously unless like Julius Randle's made the number 3 option and Jalen Brunson is the number 2. For the Brooklyn Nets, it's just going to be to make the playoffs this season. They don't have their first round pick back from the James Harden trade in the 2021 regular season. So yeah, you don't want to lose that pick. It ends up being really good. So just make the playoffs. Be okay with losing. Pick number 15. Just take your first round sweep from the Boston Celtics. The Toronto Raptors already did something great so far going into that retool, rebuild direction by moving OG Anunoby to the Knicks for Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. Now let's trade away Pascal Siakam at the deadline. Fully go all into this selling team that you could be in a couple weeks and move on from Pascal Siakam. But also don't stop there. Like I said about Chicago, move Dennis Schroeder. See if anybody wants Jakob Poeltl. See if anybody wants Gary Trent Jr. as well. Because just Scotty Barnes with RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, your first round pick is top 6 protected this year. So if you get a top 6 pick, that would be great. You don't want to end up right there as the 7th or 8th pick this year and you lose that for nothing. This is the year, Philadelphia. You could be a championship team. Joel Embiid is playing at an MVP level once again. Tyrese Maxey has played the best any Sixers player has ever played next to Joel Embiid, in my opinion. Go out, make a championship winning move at the deadline. You got some picks. You got some tradable contracts in the James Harden deal. I don't know if that's going to be Pascal Siakam. I don't know if that's DeJounte Murray, if that's Zach LaVine, if that's Larry Markkinen. Whoever you can get, make that move at the deadline. Try to win a title in 2024. Come on, Daryl Morey. Let's see it. For the Boston Celtics, it's to pretty much improve the bench and win a championship. They've been so close, basically since the 2020 season, to finally winning the big one. So this is the team to do it. You have 5 all-star caliber players in your starting lineup. The bench needs to improve for sure, but it's championship or bust this year for Boston. For the Denver Nuggets, it's also just to repeat. They're in that tier 1 of teams right now, and Nikola Jokic, that's pretty much his goal. I don't really think he cares about winning another MVP. Just bring another title back to Denver. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think this is the season you wanted. Now, the Rudy Gobert trade doesn't look bad at all. It doesn't look historically bad. So I think it's pretty much you want to see your team advance to the conference finals this year. You had a round 1 exit last year against Denver, but we've seen great play out of so many guys there in Minnesota. Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns at the top. Rudy Gobert anchoring that defense alongside Jaden McDaniels. Naz Reid off the bench. This Minnesota team could be very, very good in a 7-game playoff series. For the OKC Thunder, I think you'd be fine with just a round 2 appearance, but it's pretty much just continuing to improve this young core. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, MVP candidate. Chet Holmgren, Rookie of the Year favorite right now. Jalen Williams has looked phenomenal in year 2, one of the better players from the 2022 draft class. Maybe they trade Josh Giddey at the deadline. Maybe they make a major move, but OKC has to be for real about this season, especially while they have Holmgren and Jalen Williams on these insanely valuable rookie contracts. Portland, it's got to be just to develop the young big 3 of Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and Anthony Simons. That's all you want to see from this year. You don't care about the playoffs. If you can move on from Malcolm Brogdon for good assets and Jeremy Grant for good assets, great, you go and do that. But those 3, the S's, the triple S's, Scoot, Simons, Sharpe, continue to develop those 3 and go from there. And for Utah, let's extend Lauri Markkanen. Don't let Larry walk. You got such a great young piece, somebody that was the 2023 Most Improved winner. He was an all-star last year. He's an all-star and all-NBA caliber player. Don't let that walk. He's pretty much not even in his full prime yet either. I think it would just be silly if they traded him. So yeah, extend Lauri Markkanen in Utah. He wants to be there. It's a no-brainer decision. Magic and Clipper fans, don't worry. I didn't forget about you guys. For Orlando, I think it would be to add some type of shooting guard or off-ball wing that can improve Orlando's floor spacing. I do wonder if it's going to come at the expense of a Markelle Fultz, who's an expiring contract at the end of the season. And for the LA Clippers, it's just to wish for a healthy Big 4 going into the playoffs. You want to see Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook all on the floor together in April, May, and June because they have looked great over the last couple of weeks. And this team can truly win a championship if they are all healthy come playoff time. So yeah, that's pretty much one New Year's wish resolution that I was giving every NBA team. Let me know if you agreed or disagreed with what I selected in the comments below. And thank you all for watching. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.